then we had Generation Z, and now for all of us, it's Gen S. And what do I mean by that? That you need to be a generalist and a specialist in many ways. And this doesn't apply to a small generation. I think it's for a wider generation for all of us. We should really be looking at ourselves as Gen S. Why? Because if anyone wants to be a manager or even a general manager and then a leader, you will have to look at the fact that you need, the days of saying I'm only going to be surrounded by the smartest people in the room are very much potent, but you need to be equally smart in that process. When you're leading, a fair amount of the leadership today, I think, is required to lead from the front. Why? Because the world is changing too rapidly. You need to be a lot more nimble. And it's very difficult when you have a group of only specialists and everyone better than you. So my general thought process in the 21st century is, as leaders, we definitely need to be a generalist and a specialist. I think the point you raised is about the fourth industrial revolution. I think relevant for India today, because, I think we've grown up in the last couple of decades as, and proudly so, as an arbitrage economy, where IT services have done phenomenally well around the world. And that tech part has rung along. It's created a middle class in India. But today, if you want to get into the fourth industrial revolution, I think for India specifically now, given everything that's happened in the world, given how most people in most countries are looking at this as national borders now, we need to bring in a lot of nonlinear thinking into everything that we're doing, and technology included as far as that is concerned. And to me, that means that each of us have to some extent, not depend so much on the past and precedents. I think a lot of us depend on the past and precedents too much. We have to break that. We have to take a few risks and we have to go forward. So I think that's the second part.
I'll talk a little bit about women, but this is beyond women. This is about making sure you harness the power of everybody. So if in Hindustan Coca-Cola, we had our first female line operator in our Amanpur factory in Telangana in the early 2000s. And today we have women occupying every type of job in the company. So obviously within the CEO, within 35% of the board of directors, 35% of the SLT and growing, almost 40% with the leadership team in every part of the organization. We have female electricians, forklift operators, line operators, salespeople, head of sales, head of legal, head of procurement. All of these jobs are led by women. Head of IT and technology. From a digital standpoint, my digital head is a woman. And our approach is really simple. This is about capabilities and experiences. Before I go to sleep, right before I go to sleep, I have two thoughts that I kind of leave myself with before I go to bed. And one of them is, what did I learn today? And how am I going to, what one nugget, and how am I going to incorporate that in my life? And then the second is, what am I proud of? And the reason why, what am I proud of, it goes back to refueling that battery. So it's not about egoism. It's not about, it's all of us, regardless of how successful or wealthy or powerful or any of those words are, all of us are insecure at parts of who we are. And I think taking the moment to think about that learning as a natural part of your life, as a natural part of your day, and then giving yourself permission to refuel, I think is really important. And for me, that's part of my daily ritual. And I find that it does make a big help. So just because I so agree with what Ronnie said. So in India, what I find, this is personal experience, is that we often go to some of the best schools, and some of those people, quite honestly, have been told they're the best their whole lives, regardless of their social or economic backgrounds, right? So they've been first or second in their batch since they're 5 years old, and they've been told this, and by the time they are in their 20s, they think they know everything. And in all honesty, I don't want to hire a know-it-all. I want to hire a learn-it-all. How do I get a learn-it-all? Because that learn-it-all is someone who's going to have more hunger and drive and passion to continue to learn, to continue to grow and develop. Because all of us can't have the full knowledge of the world at 20 years old, regardless of how intelligent you might be. The other big thing that I look for is less ego from an individual standpoint and more of a collaborator. I need people who can be brilliant but work in teams.